2.47 miles long, 16 turns, right? You'll pit in this area in general. Finish line here, pit lane, your blend line area puts you right here out in the high speed area of the racetrack. Okay. So when you're out racing and you're coming in for a pit, but you're not getting out of the car because it's fuel or something or whatever it might be, and you're going back out, just know when they cut you loose, you got to get up to speed, right? Because cars are going to be coming wailing down here into the braking zone at 100 and some odd miles an hour at various rates of speed. So we'll go through each page because it shows the corner sections all the way around. It looks non-technical, but it gets very technical as you come up into 2 and 3, 4 and 5. 6 is a long sweeping corner like turn 2 here, decreasing radius, so it tightens up right down here towards the end. I got a double apex through 8A and 8B. There's a big dip right down here at 9, and it rises back up quite steeply through 10. 11's heavy braking. We call it the thumb. If you look at it, it looks like a thumb. And then 12 leads on to the corkscrew, which is their famous little complex right down here, 13 through 16. So if you look at turn 1 and the braking zone that they have, turn-ins to 1 and 2. Apex for turn 1, you'll see when you do a track walk that there's some concrete curbing on the outside of the racetrack, right? Like we have on the exit turn 2 here and exit 3B. Apex, they'll mark it. It's usually marked about middle of the concrete curbing, but it's technically right at the very beginning of the concrete curbing. Okay. That's what you're looking for, right? So if you're doing a track walk and you're walking down here, you'll see braking cones 3, 2, 1. You'll see a yellow turning cone. You'll turn in, but you want to apex up here, not back here. This trajectory pushes you outside further to driver's right, so you can enter into turn 2. As you turn into turn 2, this goes uphill very steeply. There just happens to be a piece of asphalt that's been cut into. I don't know what they did, a repair or what, but it looks like a parking spot. And you just diagonal across this as you come up the hill into turn 3. So you have apex cone, turn-in cone, apex cone, turn-in cone, because turn 4 comes up. So this is 100 plus miles an hour into a braking zone. You turn in. Last bit of this, you aim right out here to these last 2 braking markers and a single braking marker to the turn-in cone to get into turn 2. Once you turn in, you're on throttle, you get up the hill, and you balance the car to get up over the top. And the car's gonna get light as it goes over the top of turn 3. So the left side of the car is gonna take a load. Once you get to the top, stay track right, because if you don't, you're gonna be out here in the no man's land where all the rubber and clag and all the stuff that you don't wanna be in exists. So you got to stay track right as you turn into turn 3. We go to the next page. So we stay track right at apex here for 3. Then we have our turn-in cone. 4 and 5, there are 2 apexes here. In general, we stay half a car to 1 car width away from this apex cone as we've turned in here, which will put us about 2/3 to the right side of the track here. But we've already made the turn in here at entry from 3 to get down to 5 apex. If we come in too quickly here and we're on the power, we're just gonna get a big push coming through here. We're gonna fight the car with a lot of understeer, especially a front wheel drive car. So about a half a car to a full car width away just from apex on turn 4. It's gonna put you about 2/3 to the right side of the track in between 4 and 5. That puts you right down here to apex every single time. On this racetrack, let me go back to the very beginning. If you're exiting turn 5, if you look all the way down here, there are 2 very, very tall trees, taller than the whole rest of the farm trees that are out there in the background that stand up really high in the background. From the exit of 5, put your eyes all the way past here, all the way down, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's also a little gap in the trees to the right-hand side. So like the gap up in the trees here at a 6, it's that same thing, but it's far away. You see that red, white, and blue trailer down there?
Yeah.
It's even further than that.
Okay.
So it's way, way out in the distance. You'll see it when you stand at apex for turn 5. If you're doing a track walk, just look straight ahead and you'll see the tall trees and then the gap to the right. Okay? So now you straighten this up as you come through this little kink here. It's not a turn, it's just this little bend, and you're gonna get up into the braking zone for turn 6. So exit turn 5, you'll come over track right. You'll come over here, and now you're basically straight all the way up, and you're looking for these 2 braking marker cones and this single braker marker cone, and you should have a turn-in cone at the end of that, just like we have down here at the end is turn 2. As you just start to move the wheel to the left to get turned in, there is a seam in the asphalt because the asphalt paver is only so wide. You're going to cross over the seam. The seam's going to stay to your right a little bit, and you'll cross back over it as you get a mid-corner. And as you approach mid-corner, if you look straight ahead as a driver, you'll see a turn worker station. That's actually the turn worker station for turn 9. It's right in your view. So these broken lines are just to kind of indicate a basic line of where you'd want to be. We don't want to be down the inside. Unless a slow car is on the outside of the corner, then you can take them down the inside. But in general, the fastest line is staying out wide, like turn 2, and then you bring it down. So about mid-corner, if you're looking straight at this turn worker station, you just barely move the wheel to the left, and it'll bring you right down to apex on 6. And apex is way over here. It'll look reminiscent to turn 2. Once you pass the turn worker station that's here on driver's left, just straighten your hands up. Nice and smooth, no rush. And you'll look straight down the racetrack, and eventually you're going to see a big water tank that says Modern on it. Just know that it's out there in the distance. You straighten your hands up, come down the hill into 7, and just stay to driver's right, because there is another seam in the asphalt that comes all the way back this way. So you exit at apex, straighten your hands up, and you'll come all the way down into turn 7. You'll be to the right side of this seam as you go down. This is a big compression area as you come down the hill. Braking markers, turn-in marker. You're aiming out here for this last braking marker. It's a single red marker. It's a big, tall cone, as they all are. The traditional line is to come all the way out track left, turn in right here. There is a white dot about mid-track. You want to put the car over that as much as you can, right? Driver's seat, passenger seat, doesn't matter what part of the car, but over that as much as you can. And if you turn in here and get this mark just right, you will come down to apex without any issue. And this is like no other turn, and this is like no other turn here at Pacific Raceways. This is pretty unique. During a real competitive lap with other cars around you, if you stay out here in a traditional line, people are just going to take it down on the inside. So if you've got to defend properly, the idea is still come down here, because no one's going to take you on the outside of turn 7, and no one's going to outbrake you going into the corner. They'll try to dive down the inside of you if you're on the outside. So stay mid-track. Then you can double apex if you want. Then the dot becomes less of an issue. You just come to apex, you look at this apex, and you'll make it just fine. But if you've got nobody around you and you can get through there quick and it's a dry track, then this is the quicker line, because you can start to go back to the power here versus having to wait to go to the power a little bit later. So the sooner you can get back to the power, the faster you're going to go ultimately. Track out marker on the left side of 8B. This goes downhill to 9. And you need to get back over to track right. You'll see it when you get there. And then from turn 9, you got to start looking way up the hill up here. There is a yellow cone. As long as it's still there, that's your turn in for turn 10. So now we're going to get into the thumb. So as you come down from 8B, and it's not a big compression, but it's a big downhill. You start to come up. You've got to get track left. So there's a turn in marker at the top of the hill, and it's yellow. You just got to trust it. There's also a curb. There's a concrete curb that they added right here. So when you come out of 9, just locate that concrete curb and stay right next to it all the way up the hill. And once you get here, you're going to look past apex on 10, and you're going to look to the apex cone entering here on driver's left. It's not a corner, but it is an apex. Anyways, you'll look straight through this corner, past this apex cone to that single red braking marker right here. If you can do that from this distance, you'll be able to get to the brakes just fine in this zone, and then you really got to turn the wheel over like 3B. But you got to get the nose weighted up. If you don't, you're just going to get a big plow, and it's going to go through the corner, right? Okay. So get it locked down. Get off the brakes just before the turn-in cone, and just get it turned in quick. Look for the track out marker on driver's left. Look for the turn-in marker on driver's right. I apologize. Look for the turn-in marker for 12 on driver's left. Turn 12, there is a bit of a bump at apex. So the track, as you drive up to it and start to turn in, the track goes like this at apex. So don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. It's just know that it's there, and physically it will cause the car to kind of load up on the left front tire. So you got to be patient with the throttle right here. Look up for track out marker, and then we're going to run down the top straightaway into the next heaviest braking area on the racetrack, and probably the most technical at the ridge. So if we've exited turn 12, we got 13, which leads us to the corkscrew, and then down through 15, 14, 15, and 16. Big brakes right here. You'll be doing 90 miles an hour most likely, maybe even a little bit quicker. Don't wait for this brake marker to go to the brakes. At least do it here at the double cones, right? You don't need to do it at the triple. Some brave guy is going to go, oh, he's going to the brakes early, and he's going to out-brake you, and the problem is he's just going to go straight off, or he's going to crash this curbing and he's going to bend something on this car, okay? So the traditional line is to stay on the brakes, turn in here. It's a very sharp downhill, and you'll see it. You do a track walk, it drops pretty steeply. And as you enter this downhill section right here, you either want to be mid-track. As soon as you turn in, you're looking for middle of the track. So when we exit 3B, that little to the middle I was telling you, it's kind of the same thing here. It's just we're turning a slightly different direction, but it's the same idea. So you can get on the throttle, squirt down the hill, get on the binders a little bit, just settle the car, get, again, weight on the nose, give the front end grip. Turn in at 14. As you do, you'll notice a turn worker station, and there's going to be 3 trees out here on way outside of the track. There's one big one, there's a big gap, and 2 small ones next to each other. If you can get mid-track when you get into turn 13 and stay out just a little bit wider, you can square up 14, get on the throttle, and then you're on a little bit of brakes just to settle the vehicle to get turned in for turn 15 and hit apex here for 15 and apex for 16. So look for these trees, look for the turn worker station. You'll know you're right in the right spot. It'll be great. Come off the brake. You're going to squeeze the brakes as you accelerate into this zone, and you don't have to get on them hard. It's just to balance the car and help get the car rotated a little bit. At this turn-in cone, start thinking going to the throttle. Don't wait until you're here to go to the throttle. That's 0.2 of a second or more. Again, aggressive drivers are going to try to outbrake you up here. They're going to try to outdrive you down here, and then they're going to run themselves off the track out here. So find the trees, find the station, get to the turn-in marker, hit apex, get the wheel straight right here, because then you're just leading out on the front straightaway in the fastest part of the track. And then you just get to repeat that process 62 times or whatever it is. So it's a lot to take in. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. It's a lot of track. Apex is on the backside right here. Get to your turn-in markers, hit apex, go to the little parking spot, stay track right, turn in, sort of mid-track, you'll get to apex, eyes up on the trees, stay on the higher side of turn 6 as much as you can until you're looking straight at that turn worker station, and then turn in, and then soften your hands up and straighten that wheel up just as you pass that worker station, and you'll come over to the right side of the track for 7. Again, feeling out what the competition is doing into 8A and 8B. It is a double apex, but it can be a single apex as well. And you're on throttle at mid-corner right here as you start to get into 8B. And then this is throttle all the way on, all the way up, steady until you go to the braking zone. There's no lift at the top of this hill. And stay off the curbing up here if you can. This is quick like 3A, 3B. This has a little bump on the inside for 12. Stay off the curbing on the inside of 13. And find the magic between 14, 15, and 16.
Easy.
No problem.